Hi, good night all. So this is just a late night conversation, right? It's not any per se knowledge sharing, but it's not even experience sharing. It's just some counseling, some um, counseling for want of a better word. Um, for those of you who not aware, I actually did a degree in psychology coupled with sociology, so I have a little bit of a little bit of knowledge and experience on relating with humans and groups and um, organizations and settings and feelings and experiences and emotions and these things, right? I may not have that much of the book knowledge, so to speak, on like to T, right? Despite getting my all grade A's and all that, right? I do not like sitting down and reading and book knowledge only. I like life experience and interactions, right? So this is just altar counseling, and this is basically for the female community or women in our society, right? Women in our society or the female component of society, females really, and it's counseling in the sense of a touchy topic, so to speak, an emotional conversation for me, a very emotional conversation for me, right? And it's just some counseling on your feelings, on one, not being able to have a child based on if you are experiencing fertility issues. Two, if you are a religious person or spiritual person and you believe in this concept of being chosen or not chosen and predestination or free will or whatever your spiritual beliefs are, right? Um, if you believe or if in fact you were not or selected by God to bring forth life into the world, if you were not selected to bring life into the world, right? Or if you are a female experiencing infertility issues, or for some reason, if you are fertile, but you choose by virtue of having other goals, having other desires, having other dreams, whatnot, you choose not to bring a life into the world, and just counseling on being able to not be affected by one family discrimination, so to speak, in the sense of feeling left out, right? Feeling left out from the fact that, oh, there are other family members who were able to or could have brought children into the world and you can't. Two, being discriminated by or ridiculed if you have family members for example who make fun of you, right, because of this fact. Family, friendships, workplace relations, anything of the sort, right? This is not necessarily something that happened to me. I'm just saying that we are having a discussion and it's to help females who are experiencing this to evolve out of that thinking or feeling of being left out, meaning that there are others, there's a whole community out there, right? There are multiple communities out there, in fact, right? There are multiple people, right, who go through these feelings, right, these emotions, right? There are multiple diverse people who might be going through. So this is our connecting females throughout the world. Whoever, I don't have much views, right, on YouTube, but for how much ever people view this, and if guys, the male component of society view this, they could share it if they have heart for females who go through these experiences, right? The feeling of not being feminine enough, right? Not being feminine enough by virtue or because you choose not to have a child. Two, you are infertile and you experience questions from older members or younger members of society. You know, when you're going to bring a child into the world, right? When you're going to have a baby, right? These things. And you might be infertile, right? Or you might be selected or not selected by the all encompassing God, right? Because God is all encompassing and he, she, it, right, has complete knowledge, complete knowledge of all the possibilities or impossibilities, right? She, it has a complete knowledge, right, on all possibilities, all your potentials, all your capabilities, right? So, um, some people, right, there are some people who God specifically selects to say, hey, well, you have the capacity to bring a child into the world. You have the whatever it takes, the capacity for the physical pain, the capacity for the emotional dramas that come with that, for want of a better word. Dramas mightn't be a right word, but the emotions that come with that, right? The ability to go through the life experience of having a child, growing up, right? The pain that comes with that, the joy that comes with that, right? Do you have that capacity? And God is the only one who knows that, right? So this is just some, for want of a better word, counseling, right, for women who actually feel left out of society by virtue of any of these three things. One, being not being selected by God, if you believe in this chosen, not chosen scenario, choosing for yourself, right, not to have a child, or being infertile and not being able to bring a child into the world, and experiencing that kind of left out feeling by one family, by friends, by workplace friends, colleagues, whatnot, right? Conversations being left over, conversations. That's one. And I know there are a lot of people in the world, women in the world, who go through this, right? Who go through this. So this is about not being pressured, right? Right. So I would have written in one of my poetry books that I wrote to that like, just because you don't have a baby by 30, don't feel anyway just because that's not part of your success story, right? So that's for people who choose not to, but then there are people who experience actual fertility issues, or people who was not actually selected, for want of a better word, to break what for whatever reason, right? So this is just some counseling in that regard, with regard to the evolution of your own emotions and thinking, right? In terms of stepping away from the opinions of society, right? Stepping away from the opinions of society, which are detrimental to your emotional health, right? Which are detrimental to your emotional health, right? So this is not to say you just screw society, screw life, right? Or say frick away with everything. And just don't interact with anybody at all if you're experiencing this. This is just to sit and not to let people's opinions dominate you, because there are unseen forces operating, right? There are unseen forces operating in the background of all our interactions, right? And you might not know that, others might not know that, right? There are unseen forces operating in the background of all our interactions, physical interactions with people. There are always unseen aspects operating in the background, right? So this is not to say that you say frick away with society altogether and go in a hole and stay and do ever come out, right? I mean not to let the opinions of society hamper your emotional health and well-being, right? It's about not letting the opinions of society hamper your emotional well-being when it comes to issues like this, right? When it comes to issues like this. So there are people who really are going through this, and there's nobody to talk to, right? I am just here as a form of counseling for people who can't afford to go to see a psychologist or whatever, right? And you just need a relation, right? Because even if you go to a professional psychologist, they might not be able to personally relate to you, right? If you go to a personal psychologist to talk about that and they have a child, right, that experience mightn't be, they have the knowledge, right? They have the specialization, they have wisdom, they have everything, but there's a difference in relating, right? There's always a difference in being able to connect or relate personally with somebody, right? So this is not to condemn whatever, right? This is just to give a personal connection, right? A personal connection with people who might be going through this scenario. And a reminder, right? A reminder that you are to evolve your thinking above regular average expectations of society, right? To evolve, right? To evolve, evolution. Evolution means rising above the average views of society, right? And this could be vice versa, right? This could be vice versa in terms of people expect you not to create a child or bring forth a baby into the world, and you do it, right? And you end up doing it, right? So it could be vice versa, right? But today the discussion is on my initial topic, right? Being able to rise above. Evolution means evolution and thinking. Being able to successfully rise above opinions of others regarding mainstream issues, in society, right? Linear issues, mainstream issues, right? So this is just this brief conversation, right? As I say, I keep my videos pretty short, not too long. People don't have a long attention span and all that in the modern world, right? So I'll leave it here. Change of location. This is my room, right? So change of location, softer setting, softer conversation, right? To not to say appeal, but to give some counsel to the feminine aspect of society who might be going through these challenges emotionally, right? So take care, everybody, and have a blessed night. And please share this. It doesn't have to be sharing my video, but sharing the counseling about the issue, right? So when I say share this, I don't mean share my video. You don't have to like, subscribe, nothing, right? But share the, if you listen to this message and you know somebody going through this situation, share the counsel that is applicable, that you would have received this knowledge, and share the counsel that is applicable to the situation at hand, to whoever needs to hear it, right? So take care, everybody.